What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Scene Podcast. We are live at Texas Recruited Film Twitter page. Back with another segment or episode highlighting or spotlighting high school programs and getting ready for the new season. Tonight we have second-year man at Sulphur Springs, Coach Brandon Shaver. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on tonight.
Talk to me about how off season's been going for y'all, man.
Man, I tell you what, I know people work hard, but man, our guys, it's something different. Like we're up here right now. It's 8:00, and I think I have 4 or 5 kids in the gym right now shooting after the volleyball games. They put the time in. I know it's different. We're a 15,000 people town, but there's not much for these kids to do, and so they'll call 8, 9 o'clock or early in the mornings and getting in the gym. And so this off season for us has been really good. For us putting in the work in the weight room, putting in the work, we're running a ton, trying to get in shape, and then all the stuff that we've been playing in. We play some high level competition in the Dallas area and different things in the Gasso events, and so it's been really good for us. And we come up this next Saturday, going back over to the Gasso event and playing. Yep. We got Keller and Odie Wyatt, and so it's going to be another good
time teams.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I love it. They're glorified scrimmages, but at the same time, man, you have some pride in what you do. And so, when our guys take the floor, a lot of times when people look at us, they'll look at it and be like, oh, it's going to be a 30-point blowout. We might not look the part. But man, once we start playing, it's something different. Like these guys play so hard, so well together. It's going to be fun for sure.
Yeah. And I think Keller, I think OD Wyatt will probably go undefeated in their district.
Yeah.
Keller will probably come out. It's always, I think, them and Keller Central going neck and neck in their district. So yeah, those are 2 big time teams that y'all are playing again. I've seen OD Wyatt play already.
Right.
And Miles Rigsby, that big 7-footer they got a whole bunch of other kids that can shoot the ball.
Right.
The one time that I've seen Keller play already, they were resting Parker Hanna and Blake Barr. So I didn't get to see those, but
right.
Yeah, man, those are 2 big time teams.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about going over. We're not too far away from Dallas to be able to do these things, and we played a ton of competition already. I think we were talking about it when we first got into the off season. Like we'll play 18 games before the season even starts. Between the fall leagues and the different Gasso events and different things that we were just going to be a part of, and it's great for us. Going into my second year, trying, those guys getting accustomed last year to what we do and how we do it. And really this year, not having to do as much installation, but just kind of hitting on things that are very important of what we think is going to help us to win.
Yeah. And y'all travel, man.
Yeah.
The teams the teams that are in this Gasso that travel, y'all, Colleen,
mm-hmm.
and probably Temple,
right?
I don't know who Peaster is.
Peaster's a little small school, but they're up near Dallas.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Y'all travel up to Dallas for everything, man.
Well, when you start looking at look at the kids that are getting recruited around the country, like we have a ton of talent coming out of the DFW area. And what we always want to say is, I think we have some kids that can play with the best of them. And so these guys want to play, and so we're going to line them up. It's we're going to go see what we can do and see the competition that we're going to the level that we can play at. And the great thing is, like I said, it's like a glorified scrimmage, and so it shows us what we got to work on, shows us what we do well, and then be able to get prepared for the season.
Yeah, before we get too far into this, I want you to take some time and tell the people exactly like who Coach Shaver is, what's your basketball background, stuff like that.
Yeah, so man, that's a hard question to answer. So my basketball background, I played at a small school in East Texas. Went to New Diana, had a pretty successful career there. Scored over 4,000 points in my career out of high school. and was able to earn and play at a D1 school. Went to Northwestern State, and kind of the crazier thing, I only got to suit up for one game, but I was already injured, and so what I had thought was life as an 18-year-old kid, got taken away from me at 18. And so, it's that's kind of the reason why I coach different. That's why I look at things a little bit differently. But I love the game. I mean, I was one that I'm 6 foot. I'm not very tall. I'm not the most athletic person. But my thing is I was never going to be outworked. I mean, that one of my, and there was news stories and stuff on it, but like before school, I would make 1,000 shots before I even went to school. And I did that from my junior to my senior year, for 2 years. And I would travel the country. I would work during the school year, and I would travel the country paying for my stuff, paying for my own flights and different things, going to different camps, going to, back then it was Rick Majerus, going up to the 5-star camps, going to the blue chip camps.
Wow.
And so that was my, my family, we didn't always have the most money. And so it was one of those where it was like, look, if we're going to make it happen, then I'm going to I have to go work. And so that work ethic is kind of the reason why where I'm at today. And it's, I've instilled it in I've got 4 personal boys, and I've instilled it in them. And then, every day trying to instill it in our guys inside of our program.
Yeah. And talk about that mindset, man. Is that something that you go over? I mean, this was going to be one of the questions that I was going to leave with, but since we're on it, I mean, do you preach to your kids about, like, I mean, basketball ain't forever?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it weekly, if not daily. I mean, it's, one of the things that we do, and I kind of lead this with our parent group. I lead it with our guys. I know you've seen some of our Man Up Monday stuff that we do. I like just taking a basketball and I'll just drop it and just it'll let it bounce, and then it just dies. And so we tell them, like, look, one day, whether you're 18 years old and you graduate, or you're blessed enough to be able to go play college basketball, or even maybe professional whatever, that there's going to be one day that the ball is going to stop bouncing. And we always tell them, if you're not enough with the ball in your hand, without the ball in your hands, you'll never be enough with it. And so again, it's teaching them that this game is great. It can take you to some great places, but you have to know who you are without the ball in your hands. And I think it's lost in what we do nowadays. I think so many people wrap themselves up, and you can see it. Like, even watch professional guys when they retire. 3 to 5 years, they're bankrupt. They don't know what to do. There's different things going on because, again, they spent their entire life not knowing who they are, except for being in the media, what people are talking about, playing basketball. And so I want our guys to really understand who they are. Again, because I'm looking at some of the guys in our locker room right here that we've had some really good players come through here in the last 5 to 10 years, and blessed to be able to play at that next level. But a lot of them haven't. And so when you're done, sometimes that last game, senior night or whatever it is, or playoff games, or your last basketball game, then if you don't know who you are, you're lost. And that's where I have failed you as a coach if you've gone through our program and you don't know who you are. I have it up on I'm looking into our locker room right now, and it's talking about our why. Like, why do we do things? Why do you get up and play? Why do you get up and go to school? Why do you get up? And so really kind of hitting that and running into deeper questions. And I think it all ties back into getting to know your players. And I put something out this morning with our Man Up Monday, but it's like, one of the biggest things for us, like, it's not about, to me, wins and losses are great. I love to win. I hate losing. It didn't matter what it is. My kids will tell you, if we're playing checkers, I'm winning. But at the same time, when we look back on life, nobody's going to care what your win-loss record is. Your players aren't going to care, that they're what they're going to care about is how you treated them. They're going to care about, did you get invited to their wedding? Did you, things like that, where that's the most important thing about coaching. We get caught up in all this stuff all the time, but, if we step back, with my mom being diagnosed with cancer this past week, it's kind of one that I've kind of looked back on life and going, hey, we've got to figure this out. I love, like I said, I love coaching. I love basketball, and basketball gives me the opportunity to pour into these kids and for them to they're all eyes listening, because, it's just what we do and how we do things.
Man, before we move on, it's like I don't know if you were the preacher type when you were at other places, but I know, like, ever since I've been around Sulphur Springs, I mean, Coach Sip was really good at it, and you seem to be really good at it, man.
Well, I appreciate that. It's funny you say it. Like, I actually am a licensed minister from way back in the day. Coming out of college, I was a youth pastor for 2 years, and didn't know kind of where, I was really kind of figuring out where God wanted me, and sports ministry was what we were looking into. I didn't know if I go into coaching full time, and so I just kind of use experience. I think that's what we're trying to teach all these guys, is use the experiences that guys put you through and what you go through life, and to be able to help other people out. And that's kind of where what kind of came up with Man Up Monday was when COVID happened, and when kids had to go home to a place where maybe they wasn't good, and had to be there for 8 months, a year and a half, whatever it was. But,
Yeah.
Just think about that mentality of what they had to go home to if it wasn't a good environment. And so I was looking at it going, I've got to do better. Like I said, I was more focused on wins. I was more focused on the transactional part, and not the transformational part of what we can do for players. And so it sitting back at your house for 8 months and going, what am I doing this for? And what kind of impact am I having? And so that's where we kind of bred the Man Up Monday things that we were doing.
Yeah, man, and you see so many young people. I was just talking about this to somebody today, man. And maybe it's just social media that, like, you see so many young people get murdered, I mean, just put in bad situations. I mean, and so it's good to have people like you and other people that, I mean, like, I talked to the coach from Hillcrest. I mean, Jesus Christ, man, what a great job y'all are doing with those kids, because a lot of them do need it.
Right. Well, and you don't even know, like, that's, when I got up here, I started thinking about it. I was like, well, most of these guys, where I was at before, it was a little different. 82% of our athletes came from a single family home or worse. And when you get up here, it's a little, a lot of them come from a mom and dad, or, that situation. But even if that's the case, it doesn't always mean that we can't help them or reiterate what's going on at the house, or, maybe spin it on a different angle. Something because we might say something that might hit home that maybe their parents can't or don't, that they just don't understand. And so, it's a privilege to be able to coach. And I think the way that we take it, and our staff takes it, is just, we're here to help these guys out. We're going to work you so hard in basketball, but at the same time, we're going to love you so much at the end, that it's going to be a great thing once you graduate our program.
Yeah. Talk to me about what kind of ankle injury, like what was going on with your ankle when you went into college? And
well, that was the thing, is I've never really been hurt. And so that was,
okay.
I was kind of battling through. I was just going through practice, and I had rolled it a few times. So I was thinking, man, there's no big deal. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of go through it, and, as an 18-year-old kid, you think you're Superman. Or as a teenager, you think you're Superman. You can't have anything to go wrong with you. And so, I actually, it got to the point where I had taped it. We put a brace on it, and I would tape over the brace. And so it was like a cast. Yeah. And again, I shouldn't have been doing it. It is what it is, but, again, I should have listened to the traders and not myself at 18. But anyway, so I ended up, we were in a PE majors building with no air conditioner at the end of a practice. And we were doing some stuff, and I jumped over. We were going some full court stuff. I jumped over a guy, and I ended up landing on the ball. And so it completely destroyed my right ankle. I had, I've had 3 reconstructive surgeries, had the Achilles. So I've had his tendon, cartilage, and then the Achilles tear. And so it was a major deal to try to come back from. And it was a hard time in my life, because again, it was, I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was that person that, I had wrapped myself so much into the game of basketball and wanted to be in the headlines and wanted to be in all this. And so when it was taken away, my wife's kind of sitting over here, like it was, we were not married at the time, but it was one of the hardest things that I had to go through because I had to figure out who I was.
Mm-hmm. One of my, I've never broke any bones or anything, but I mean, I was at, I used to go up to SMU's recreation center with one of my friends who had a cousin that went there, and we used to pay to get in, and then we could play basketball up there.
Oh yeah.
And man, I went up there one day and we were playing. I went up for a layup, came down on a shoe.
Ooh.
I felt my ankle touch the ground.
Oh.
I mean, I'm talking, I tried to get up. I couldn't get up. I imagine me coming around the corner. I'm on all fours, almost. I mean, I'm almost in tears at this point because it's the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life.
Yeah.
And I'm asking the front desk people, like, hey, do y'all got a bag of ice or something? Like,
I mean, whatever
teddy bear, something that's going to make me feel good.
Right.
Because this don't feel good. And they were like, no. And then, I had to call my parents because I didn't drive. My parents came and picked me up. I'm sitting on the steps. I can't even walk. My dad's got to get out and help me up to the car.
Oh.
Get in the car, take my shoe off, which was probably not a good idea, but I propped my leg on the dashboard, and I'm talking
swollen. Oh yeah,
softball.
Yes. Yeah.
Already, and we get to the hospital, and we were able to go to the what was that, orthopedic?
Oh yeah.
And the doctor the next week, and I had a 3rd-degree high ankle sprain.
Oof.
I mean, I'm talking about I had bruises. I had bruises up to the middle of my calf, all the way down to my toes. I mean, the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life. And I couldn't. But to your point, I was young, probably 18 or 19.
Yeah.
They told me I needed to wear a boot for like 3 months.
Yeah, you probably worked for maybe 2 or 3 weeks or days,
2
maybe.
weeks.
Yeah. It's like, I'm good. It feels good. I'm fine.
And you could see me back up at SMU hopping around on one leg, shooting one-legged jump shots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it still gives me problems still today.
Oh. Yeah, I still don't like, and I had played. As I had kind of got in my mid-20s, I was kind of getting back into trying to play a little bit, and I can run up and down the floor, but it was. Now I just stand and shoot. It's one of those, like, if we're doing a 3-point contest, I'm fine, but I'm not running.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So did you end up finishing college?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just didn't play. I went to I transferred out and I ended up finishing my degree online, actually, because and it was kind of one of the first things. I wouldn't say first of, but it was one of the, like, it really wasn't popular back then. But kind of a long story short, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, that we had gotten married, and so I was working jobs and going to school, and
you got to tell me about coaching and working construction at the same time.
Well, so Louisiana is different, man. So they're over there. It's called CECP. So you can work during the day and then go coach in the afternoons. And so it was just good because were you doing a coaching job for? Was it a stipend or was it like just doing it? Some was and some wasn't, and so that's why you had to end up really working. And so some of my assistant jobs were volunteers. And in some actually I got paid. And so, and it's nothing like over here. Like, and I know over here in Texas, you can't do that anyway, but, so when we had talked about with my wife about, really getting into coaching and, we had looked at finances, it was just like, there's no way, like, we had been married 2 years and I graduated and, my wife walked the stage pregnant. And so it was like, look, you can't live off a teacher's salary. And I was like, especially in Louisiana, it's a little bit different in Texas. They get paid a little bit better over here. But over there, it was, nothing. And so I was like, look, I can go work during the day and go do this in the afternoons. And so I did that for several years. getting that itch. And, I started an AAU program over there. And so it was a lot of stuff that I did before I got into full-time, teaching and coaching.
Yeah. And then, I mean, so you did the construction for all those years, and then you land a head coaching job.
Yeah. Well, and that was the crazy thing. There was we had some life stuff happen that, and I ended up going into some couple different fields of things to do. And I didn't know if I'd ever be a full-time coach at a school, because there was some, I just didn't know finances wise. I was like, I don't know what I can do with this. And the weird thing through is, that's why I always talk about, we tell our kids, especially through Man Up Mondays, we just talk to them like, you're always building relationships for 10 years down the road. And I get that from Buzz Williams. Buzz talks about it all the time with his guys. And so, I was really, when I was working for this job, I was developing a friendship and a relationship that I didn't know at the time would lead to my first full-time coaching job. And so, I'd worked for this guy for a little over a year, and he, and through that was connections with my the first school board member. And so when they had a job that opened, it was a little small, tiny. I mean, it was smaller than the Hoosiers gym. We had 3 wooden bleachers on both sides, and that was it. If you wore a size 12 shoe, you couldn't stand out of bounds on the baseline. So it was tiny.
Yeah.
But it was one, I was the AD, I was a basketball coach. There was no football. We played basketball year round. Like, I loved it. Small town in Louisiana. And it was awesome. And so you get your guys, we would play a little private school. We would travel all over the place. I mean, our district games sometimes were 4 hours one way. And so we played in what was called the MAIS, the Mississippi Athletic Association. And so we had, our state champion was like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And so all of those guys came together for a state championship.
And that's how you got involved in what, you were like a coach in an all-star game or something?
Yeah. So that first season, we weren't picked to win a game. They had graduated a ton of guys out, and we ended up winning 18 games, and making the playoffs. And so we, it was a great season. The kids were great. And I was selected to coach in the all-star game. And so
that's where that preaching comes in, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Well, it was fun. I tell you, the all-star game was awesome. We went out to Mississippi, and at that time I had my oldest son was in the 6th grade, so I brought him out there with me, and they had dunk contests, 3-point contests, and just to see some of the top guys in that area was a lot of fun to coach in.
So talk about your time at Pine Tree.
Yeah,
I mean, you what? I mean, what were you there? Maybe 2 years?
I was there 2 years,
okay.
and it was a rebuild. Now it's when you.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna get into the records. Well, I just want you to talk about it.
No, yeah, it's again, we came into Pine Tree. It was one like, they had graduated everybody out. JJ Spartman, who is playing Saturdays at Texas Tech right now, was going to come in and play. But he ended up getting injured at one of the first preseason games, and because of that injury, a couple other guys decided not to come out. And so it was definitely a crazy year to come in that first year. But again, we won. I forget. I think it was 15 to 18 games. Because when JJ went down, people were like, y'all ain't winning anything. Like, and so we had, we beat Lufkin. We beat some guys that was like, wait a minute, what? Like, it was, White House. We a couple of guys at that time were pretty stout players and teams. And so we, coming in, that job was one where, again, every job that I've gotten, and I've only been to 3 places, but it's been that they have reached out to me, and I'm not saying anything about me. It's nothing about me, but they've reached out to me about the situation. And so, like at Pine Tree, I was at Central, and so I was coaching there. I was a year and a half going in, and I get a call from Pine Tree, and I'm like, man, I'm in a 1A private school that's only been 1 year head coaching experience. I was like, there's no way. You're a 5A public. There's no way that you're gonna, that I'm gonna have a chance at this job. And so he goes, look, I don't know if you do or not, but your name came up. I want you to come interview. And so I was like, I said, I'll for sure interview. And it was funny because my wife's from South Louisiana, and I've always been trying to get her to move to Texas. And she was like, no, we're going to stay in Louisiana. We're going to stay in Louisiana. And so, she was like, yeah, you can go interview, but we're not going. I was like, okay, that's fine. So and over
Uh,
there, I got spoiled. We were only a
yeah.
4-day a week. So Monday through Thursday, we were off every Friday.
Oh,
It was
okay.
awesome. Loved it.
Yeah.
And
They're,
so
they're, they they were like the first school to adopt that, right?
well, I don't know if they were. I just know that they
I,
man, it was
I think
there
they
in
were
Louisiana,
because
it was awesome. Dude, I'm telling you, I
yeah.
mean, every Friday you had
Oh,
off,
okay.
man.
No. You're talking about Louisiana. My
Yeah,
bad.
I'm not talking about
My
no.
bad.
You
My
I
bad.
think that was like maybe Athens area or something like that.
Yeah.
They adopted it in
Yeah.
Texas. But so on a Friday I went and interviewed, and interviews maybe last maybe 30 minutes to an hour, depending on what goes on. Well, I got in there and it turned into like a 6-hour interview. We went through it and they started showing me
Wow.
the campuses, and I met the superintendent. I met all this, and so they over the weekend they had called my references and on Monday offered me the job. And I was blown away. And so I was like, man, I didn't know. I came home, or as I was calling my wife driving home, I said, look, I think I did pretty good. I just don't know, I don't know what's going to go on. And so, but it was that was a great experience for me to be able to experience the 5A level, to get to know some guys, make some connections. That's where Sip and I had played against each other back like a long time ago in high school, but we kind of kept up with each other, not
Oh,
not real close.
it's a hell of a lot of history, man.
Yeah. So it's one of those where, um, you know, when I was at Pine Tree again, I told you it was rebuild, and so even that second year. So the second year we get COVID, and so
Yeah.
I didn't know. Does anybody didn't know how to handle that situation?
Mhm.
And so we're sitting there. 5 and 6A football gets pushed back. So we only get to really play. And I'll tell you that season we literally our football team had the best football season in history. Get beat out on the Saturday, and we have tryouts Monday, and we come up and play SIP on Tuesday to start district. And so
Jesus.
you're like, oh, like we did. What are we doing? Like, what I mean? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it was one of those going like we played 12 games. We played more with some of the off-season kids, but we played 12 district games. That's all we played that whole year because everybody we had came from football. Um, and so I think we won 5 district games that year, which was tough. I mean, again,
Yeah, and I remember that year. I know Frisco Memorial played four district games in 9 days,
oh
something like
yeah,
that, or seven
yeah,
days or something like that.
yeah. I mean, and you never knew. I mean, there
Wow.
was we ended up because you never. I mean, you could get the phone call right when you're pulling in. Hey, my guys popped
Yeah.
for COVID, so we're turning around and go home. Like
Golly.
it was a crazy year that
Wow.
not understanding what was going to go on, not how to to navigate through it, and
And
so
you know what? I always tell people like, that year was that 2021,
yeah, 2020 and
20
2021.
2020.
Yeah,
So
2020.
2020, I mean, I've never been so busy like with
No, yeah,
basketball during the summer.
yeah,
I mean, there was an event here every weekend
I bet.
because Texas was the only place that was doing
They
anything.
the only people that were playing.
And I mean, every weekend, I mean, filming here, filming there,
Yeah,
doing. I mean, busy. Same
yeah,
same thing with 2021. I mean, it
right.
was a little more lax than 2021, but
Yeah,
I mean, 2020 was busy, man.
yeah, because a lot of other states didn't even open up. I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of didn't play high school ball that year. Or they're only playing summer ball. So,
Yeah,
it's it was that was just a crazy time. And trying to figure out how do you
it's like
navigate through all that.
the California teams.
Yeah.
They were taking their high school teams and
Yes.
pretty much running them as summer league teams, but playing
Yep.
high school ball.
Yeah, because over there, even with the
Um,
mask, they wouldn't allow them to play. Like they weren't playing at all.
mhm, yeah. So I guess you talk about like knowing people 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
Uh, 2 years after you take the job at Pine Tree, you take the job at Sulphur Springs. Um, a program that has a lot of success. Obviously, I don't need to tell you.
Yeah.
Um, talk about the excitement and eagerness to get in that gym with these kids and keep it rolling.
Oh yeah, and that was like I said, Sip and I have a great relationship, and we had talked, and it was one that I again when I got the phone call, I was like, man, there ain't no way, like we're in a rebuild here, and I'm like, they're at Sulphur Springs, like one of, or if the not the best East Texas job out there. And so again, it was one of those where we, going through that process, uh, it was awesome for us. You couldn't ask for a coach, for us to be able to go to a place that first has built the winning tradition, to have the kids in place to continue to win, and to be able to carry it on. And so it was a great experience moving in. Those guys, we got in the gym, it wasn't within a week. We had a parent meeting and a player meeting, meeting all the guys, and then getting into, because it was kind of early on in the summer. So we got into the summer workouts, just trying to get them in the gym to, like Sip and I do a lot of stuff similar, but we do have our own ways of doing things. And so, we taught, different things, different defensive philosophies, on what we were doing. And so, they bought in as soon as we got here. I have a great staff. Coach Mass is probably one of the best, if not the best assistant coach in Texas, if not in the country. He'll be a head coach soon on the sidelines. And I couldn't do it without him. And so he did a great job. He came with me over from Pine Tree. He was with me a year there in Pine Tree, and then came over with me these last 2 years here. And so, it's been fun. When you take over a program like this that has a winning tradition, there is, and I think that was one of the questions they asked me in the interviewing process, is like, do you feel the pressure to win? And I'm like, absolutely, I do. Like you have to, like, if I go out there and we win 3 games, then my family and I are going to be looking for another job somewhere, like
not with the kids you have.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like we got some studs up here. And so, and that was right, and I love that, because again, you go out, every game you go out with a target on your back, knowing that, people are coming after us, and we've got to prepare for that. And that's, that's what these guys, like, they work so hard. Like in practice, they work so hard. They do things that are just different, and not typical of high school athletes.
And I don't know if this is something I should say. I don't know. It happens all the time. Kids transfer these days.
Oh yeah.
I want to think that, like, there's let's talk OD Wyatt.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They get a few of
them. They're a great basketball program, and I mean, like, they're the premier program in Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Duncanville, and then you got Sulphur Springs in East Texas. If I mean, I don't know how transfers and stuff work out there, but, like,
not very good out here, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, if I have a son that's good at basketball, I might try to get him to your program.
Well, my philosophy and all that is, if you build something we're here to build something that people want to be a part of. And it's not just at the high school level. We do it through the middle school, junior highs, all the way down to the elementaries, and we're here to develop players and develop young men. And with that, when you start doing that, it attracts people to come here. And it's a good place. Like it's a great town to live in, great community.
You got Chick-fil-A now?
Do what? Yeah, we got a Chick-fil-A.
You got a Chick-fil-A now?
We got a couple other things that might be coming in. Like we're all waiting on. We've heard that we're going to get a McAllister's, but we haven't seen the sign yet. So we don't know what's going to go on.
I know when, like, the first time I ever came out there. I mean, y'all are an hour and a half from me.
Yeah, we're out.
I came out there. I came out there at like 3:00, so I needed somewhere to sit, and I saw that y'all. Like that day, I saw Chick-fil-A. When that come through, like,
where is this?
I thought I was gonna have to walk around Walmart for a long time.
Yep. So we have some good little, like, of course you have the I-30, so you have the fast food restaurants and stuff like that. But we've got some good stuff coming up, and that's the thing. Like, the community's growing. We have some big housing additions that's going in, and so I know we dropped to 4A, but I don't know how long we'll stay at 4A. But we'll see what all happens to that.
So you go into your first year, man. 28-10, 10-2 in district. You get to the third round and you lose by 1 point.
Yeah.
To Lufkin.
Yeah.
Talk about going through that. Talk about conversations with the kids after that game. Obviously, that's tough.
Oh,
But first season, man. I mean, great season. Talk
when I say
about
it's all
that a
about
little bit.
these kids, it's they put in the work, man. We just they get the glory for all that they do. We kind of just stand on the sideline. We have a little bit into it, but man, these kids are awesome. That Lufkin game, I tell you what, if you tell me that we hold them to I think it was 35 points, I'm going to tell you 10 out of 10 times we win that game. Our defensive philosophy of coming in, doing what we wanted to do, we nailed what we wanted to do defensively. We just had one of the worst not the worst offensive game that we've had all season long. We had two of our best scorers went over. One went 1 for 10. And that's tough. It was just that it all came together at one time. And it was tough, man. When you get to coach a kid like Justin Hare, which is a phenomenal kid outside of basketball, comes from a great family. It's and there's a picture that's as soon as the horn sounds and I just go up, I'm like, man, I just give him a big hug, and that's the thing. One of the things in our program, we tell kids we love them, and so you don't always hear that. You don't always hear it from males to a male to male relationship, or but we use that word a lot in our program, and so I just gave him a big hug and said, dude, I love you. Thank you for a great season. Sorry the way it ended, but man, I couldn't be more proud of how you played this season. And there's a picture that shows us kind of embracing right there on the sideline. And not only him, but man, we had a great class of seniors. Caleb's playing at the next level right now. He's at prep school. Looks like he might get a chance to go D1. He's got got one that's looking at him right now. And we had some unsung guys that maybe didn't show up in the stat sheet, but like a Casey Arrington that worked his butt off and did the things that nobody else, again, doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but he was a winner.
I don't know how Caleb didn't get something out of high school.
Well, he had a chance to go to a couple different places and prep. And again, he's one of the best shooters. He shot 45% from 3-point.
Yeah.
He can shoot the ball. And again, we might have 4 guys this year signed. We got a real good chance. We got 5 seniors that are playing this year. 4 will probably sign and go to the next level. 2 for sure. I say 3 for sure. We already got guys that maybe they haven't gotten the full offers yet, but their coaches are, I'm getting, calls or texts on coaches daily about these kids. And so, we went back to the locker room. Of course there were some tears because the season's over with. Seniors realize that it's the last time. And you hate going out that way. I would have rather, going out going, okay, we played our best and got beat. But I think, again, defensively was one of the best defensive games we played all year. Hold Lufkin, which is a great team. I'm not taking anything from McManus. Those guys are great. McManus is a guy that I spoke to, since I got the Pine Tree job. He's one of the guys I actually called before I took the Sulphur job. And it's like, hey, what do you think? And so I've kind of leaned on him throughout the years. And so, it's tough because you want to go out with the best. And we had, I think it was a 12-game win streak. And so it wasn't like we were, once we lost that game to Mount Pleasant at Mount Pleasant, we started reeling them off and played extremely well. And so we were a hot team going into the playoffs and, win the second round game by 25. And, we thought we had it going and we had some sicknesses that week. It wasn't COVID, but we had some sicknesses that week. I don't know. Were you did you go to that game?
Who?
That Lufkin game?
No, I didn't. Okay.
Well, Justin Hare didn't even warm up. He didn't come out of the locker room. He had some sickness. Yeah. So it was, and I'm not blaming. Believe me, we just didn't play. It is what it is. It just, like I said, it kind of, everything came together on that one night. And that's what I tell people all the time. When you get in the playoffs, man, you can throw records out the window. You can throw rankings out the window. It doesn't matter. It's whoever plays the best for those 32 minutes.
Justin was out too when I watched y'all play.
Over in Allen
Memorial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Allen, yeah.
and we gave them a great shot. I mean, I think they beat us by 10 or 11
Yeah.
without Justin, you know,
Yeah.
and we again, I think we went 2-2 in that tournament, which was a good one for us because it showed that we can win without him. You know, and so it gave Cordrick some really good minutes, and I think he went for 31 game, and
Wow.
you know, and so it just showed that, you know, again, I think he's one of the best bigs in this area, if not in the state. Uh, so, you know, you know, you still kind of, COVID really wasn't much last year, but, you know, you still had some sickness things that was dealt with, that you didn't have the fear of games being canceled, but we actually did. We
Yeah.
had a game, it got canceled. You know, we were already on the bus heading to Dallas and it got canceled. We had to turn around and come back. And we actually went, we were going to come back. We actually went to North Texas and watched the North Texas game. And
I remember that.
yeah.
I
So
remember that.
I called up Coach McCaslin over there and was like, "Hey, we don't have a game. You guys are playing tonight. You know, can we come and watch y'all?" And he's like, "Yeah, come on." So we were able to get over there and watch that game, and you know, we had the bus already going, and so it was a good team bonding experience for us. And
That's awesome.
yeah, so we do that. We try to do as much as we can of that stuff.
And I mean, you've taken them to A&M Commerce too, right?
We went to A&M Commerce. We watched. So one of our goals is to try to watch as many guys that are playing at the next level as we can. Like this year, I've got it marked on our calendar. December 14th, SFA plays Louisiana Tech. So we have day playing Keystone, and so that's going to be a great
Where's
game.
that at?
That's at Louisiana Tech. You know, so it's in Ruston, and so we're, you know, I'm working with our admin to make sure that we can get out that day because that's a Wednesday, and so we play Tuesday. And we ended up playing Tuesday and Friday of that week. And so I'm going to try to see if we can get out to be able to go there and watch that game. It's just, you know, what I love is to see for our guys to be able to see that, you know, these guys are playing at the next level, and that's going to be a good one. I mean, Keyston's played great for the summer. You know, they all
Keyston's got a real chance. And I think Day-Day's going to take off this year.
Right. Well, and that's and they live in the gym. So our guys get to see them year round. And so, you know, when they're back here, they're in the gym and they're working out with our guys, and they're, you know, and our guys still are old enough to be able to see them or watch them. And so it just helps that, you know, they get to see those guys playing at the next level. And we try to do that. Like we'll go again, we got, you know, 2 guys at DBU. So Justin and Cam, and we'll go watch those guys play. You know, and, you know, if we can get to, you know, we got X over at TCU and trying to see if we can get over there to watch a game. And, you know, the hard thing is we're playing games a lot of times when they're playing. So, you know, we don't be able to get a watch a lot, but, you know, if we can get those dates, we want to go watch them.
Yeah. And so you touched on it a little bit. I mean, we're going into year 2. You're no longer 5A. You're now 4A. I think your guys have to have a lot of confidence going into 4A, knowing that, you know, we had a lot of success at the 5A level. Talk about maybe like just about your team specifically, what you've talked to them about going into 4A. I mean, when they've already had all eyes on them at the 5A level.
Yeah. Well, and that's what when we played last year, we knew that, you know, every time people were out to beat us, you know, and that was with our district last year. You didn't have a game off. It didn't matter who it was. You know, I mean, if you didn't play well, you were getting beat in district. And so, you know, us dropping a 4A, you know, it's still going to be a target. We're going to get everybody's best game. That's what we always tell them. We're going to get everybody's best game. And so we've got to understand that when we can't come out slow, you know, we can't come out thinking we're going to win or anything like that. And so we stacked our schedule before district to kind of get us prepared for another, hopefully, you know, a further run than we did last year. You know, and, you know, we got a lot of ranked teams at the 4A level. Then we've got some really big top level, you know, tournaments that we're going to play in. You know, and we're doing things a little bit differently this year and in how we're tracking stuff. And so we have stuff that we track in practice every day that we're going to track in games that doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. You know, like we call a Superman, man, we diving on the ground after loose balls. Like we're never going to go, you don't bend over to get a loose ball. If there's a loose ball and there's a chance you're going to get on the ground. And so we're tracking how many Supermans we've got. We're talking, we call it Draymond Green's taking charges. How many charges can we take?
Yeah, watch the way you say that now.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit different nowadays. After that, we might have to change the name of this one after a couple of last week's deal. But
you
might find somebody else.
You don't want any Draymond Green.
No, yeah, we don't want that. That's for sure. We don't want that in practice. And so like we just have a lot of different things. Like we have on our practice chart, we roll a dry erase board out, and we want to attempt 10 charges in every practice. Attempt them. And those are things that we've told them. Like, look, those are things that won't directly transfer to the scoreboard as far as what that is. But, if we're taking a run and the guy's on a run and we get their best player with a charge, all of a sudden the momentum's ours. If, kills, 3 stops in a row, or we're tracking that. How many kills can we get in a game? And, you'll hear our bench. We do bench energy. We'll have, and I stole this from SIP. Like, we'll actually have a camera that's only filming the bench. And like, look, if you're not doing your job on the bench, man, don't expect to get in the game.
Hey, man, I used when I was doing stuff with the team that I was filming for during the summer, man, I used to tell them, like, your energy on the bench is being watched too.
Oh, 100%.
Like, these coaches ain't just watching everything on the floor; they're watching y'all too.
Yes.
So, like, and every time a person subs out, you need to get up.
Yes. Oh, that's a rule. Like,
when there's a timeout, you need to go out the floor.
Well, and that's what. So our timeouts are a little different. Our guys. So if we're sitting down, if it's a full timeout, our guys are sitting down, and the guys are behind them on locked arms. So we're locked arms, ready to go. That way, again, because you can look at a typical high school timeout, and the 5 guys that are in, yeah, they're locked in, but the other guys over here talking or looking up in the stands, or and there's several pictures of us this year as a team. You can see us, like, and I don't want, again, this is not my team, this is their team. And so a lot of times we ask questions, like, if we're sitting in a timeout, unless we know something that we specifically going to adjust, like, hey man, what do y'all see out there? Like, what do you see that we don't see? Okay. So, and then, like, all right, so they see that. Well, let's look at it. How can we, we can pinch down on this, or we can hammer on the backside of this guy, like different things that they might see that we don't see on that spot. And that's where the trust comes in, with building trust with the players. That, again, I tell them all the time, a coach-led team, we're average if I'm leading the team, or if my assistant's leading the team. We'll be a great team if it's player-led. And so we allow certain situations to be able to do that in practice. And, like we don't, like, we'll go over to the Gasso event, and we don't have a coach. Like, our guys coach themselves at these Gasso events. Anything that
and so, like, one of my questions was going to be, like, how much do you preach to them, like, that you have to communicate? You have to be able to communicate.
Yeah, well, and that's that is daily, if not every minute in practice. Like, I was Coach G from Mansfield Timberview, and I sat down probably 2 weeks ago now. I was, great guy. I was able to, just to pick his brain about what all he's done. And so what we started after that conversation, we started saying, look, we communicate pretty well. We talk, like, we had a college coach come in our watch one of our practices, one of our 45-minute practices. And I always ask, once they're done, I always ask, like, hey, what can we improve on? What do you see? I'm always one that I don't know it all. And I tell our kids, I don't know it all, but you're not going to outwork me. I'm going to go find stuff. I'm going to go look for stuff. I'm going to figure out what we can do. And it all ties back into when I was a high school player. That's that work ethic that it kind of built into me. And so he came out and he's like, look, coach, that's probably one of the best, or he said, that's the best 45-minute practice I've ever seen. You guys did so much stuff. You got so much done. Y'all communicated for the entire 45 minutes. There wasn't any lull times. And that's the energy that these guys bring. And I'm not going to say every day, because that'd be a lie, but most of the time, 70, 80% of the time, these guys bring so much energy. We're talking, we're communicating, but again, that's what we preach so often. Like, if you want to play for us, like, we grade practices, and communication is one of them. If you don't communicate, man, you're missing those points. Like, if you're not in our culture points, things that we want you to do, like, and at the end of the day, you can't come to us and be like, well, coach don't like me. No, that's not the way it is. Like, you just don't grade well. Like, you don't practice well. So take the play.
And, like, practice, what what period is y'all's athletic period? Are y'all on a block schedule or y'all?
I wish. We have it's just one. We have our eighth period is ours, so it's at the end of the day.
Okay.
We go from like 2:45 to 3:30 roughly.
So you get those kids for 45 minutes.
Yeah, every day 45 minutes.
And so I guess practices are in what 2.5 weeks. You get to have them more than right.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, kids are still allowed to, I mean, if you want to come in the gym and get some shots up.
Yeah, we're just not. Yeah,
that's on y'all.
They come in there. Yeah, we there's like we have kids right here. I just can't be in there. UIO rules and stuff like that. So
yeah.
But I mean, they know their workouts. They have shooting workouts that they do, and they know them. And then that's another leadership thing of where older guys teach the younger guys like this is what we do here, and so it kind of helps in that situation. And so
you're lucky to have a lot of good kids.
Oh yeah,
at your school. Being in Sulphur Springs, you probably don't have a lot of distractions.
No, that's the great thing about where we are. Like, it can be a Friday night at 10 o'clock and I might get somebody to call me and say, Coach, can I get in the gym? And I always tell them like, look, yes, I will get you in the gym. And that's the thing, because there's nothing to do here. Like it's a good and bad thing. It's really not like, in Dallas, you can, you got options all over the place. Here there's not a lot. So kids just, hey, what do? I get in the gym. I go and work out and then I go home, and so and these kids are great. We'll come up here and unlock the gym. We're doing different things and let them get their stuff in and go home.
And I always praise coaches like yourself and other coaches that will, I mean, at a drop of a dime, I mean, go up to a school and open a gym up for a kid.
My wife give me that look like, yeah, it is, it is good. Like I have great assistants too. Like Coach Mass will do that. Like this weekend, and my wife's done it a few times. Like, it depends on what we're doing. I don't get to spend a ton of time with my own personal kids. And so like this weekend, my youngest son was playing baseball. And so, I had some guys asking me and I'm like, look, I'm going to watch his game first. Let me finish his game. And then I can go up and run and open the gym. Like, and they respect that. Like, again, it's just about being real with them. We tell our guys all the time, we're going to be real with you. We're going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. And the truth doesn't hurt. The truth will only tell you the truth. Lying to you will hurt you. And so what we're going to do is tell you the truth, but then we're going to help you get to the point where you want to be, and if that's, and a lot of times the truth and where they want to be or think they aren't the same, because, everybody tells them what they want to hear. And so and that's the thing about, I think, is coaching. Like, I'm never going to tell them I know it all, because I don't. Nobody does. If you, they talk about it, like you're either humbled or you're about to be humbled. So you decide, you choose that. And so that's kind of how I live. Like I'm just, it's nothing that I've ever done, but we're in a great place right here. Had a great season last year, and have a chance to have a pretty good season again this year, as long as we stay humble and continue to work.
And you have a lot of experience going into this season again.
Oh yeah.
With I don't want to say his name wrong. Branson, is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Branson.
Okay. Parker.
Yep. Wizenhunt.
Yeah, there you go. Athletic freak.
Oh, dude, that's one of the guys where you're like, oh, I've guarded that kid, and then he ducks on you. You're like, okay, I'm not guarding him anymore. Yeah.
Cordrick
Turner. Yeah.
Coaches need to start recruiting that kid.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the guys that I'm talking with, man, they, because he's got a D2 offer, and I'm talking to them, almost on a daily, and they're like, man, I think he's extremely under recruited. And I was like, I agree. I think he's one of the most under recruited kids here.
Especially with like Sulphur Springs now has like a lineage of big men that are playing at the next level with starting with Xavier.
Yeah.
And then you got Day and Cam, and now you have Justin.
I mean, you got TCU, like you're just talking about TCU, SFA, DBU, and the two at DBU, like and that's those are top level programs.
Cordrick got so much better.
Yes.
I mean, to a point this summer where, I mean, you couldn't defend him because he's got soft touch and he's got such a big body.
Well, I mean, he's 6'7", 245, and can move. Like, and I'm not saying this because I'm his coach. Like I tell you, we tell kids the truth. Like, he's unguardable at times. When he chooses to
Yeah.
be, he's unguardable. And I mean, we played, a couple weekends ago in Roy City, and they were double and triple teaming him. And the
Yeah.
thing is that I don't know if they see it as much, but he is a great passer. And that's why we run some things that we do, is because we're going to get the ball in his hands, and we're going to make him either he's going to make a play, or we're going to do some screen action and stuff for him to hit the right person. Because if you double team off of him, we're going to make we cut so well and we move so well without the ball that this year that it's if we continue to get better like what we're doing now, we're going to be hard to defend.
Yeah, and I mean the other guy that I was going to mention was Malachi.
Oh yeah, hidden
but
gem, man.
Also, coaches need to start recruiting Branson too, man.
Well, and there, I mean, again, he's a great shooter. He's a great leader. And you talk about gym rats, like that dude is up here all the time. I mean, today's his birthday. He spent probably 2 or 3 hours in the gym today getting shots up. It's just what he does. Like I mean, he's in here 6-7 days a week. I mean, I think this past year, I got a call, I think on Thanksgiving Day, and we were home, and I was like, yeah, come on. And his mom was like, don't call Coach Shavers. Like, yeah, if I'm here, let's do it, And so, but like we have another senior, Cole Theophilidis, which didn't get a ton of time until the end of the season last year. But man, he came in the other day, we were playing South Grand Prairie, and he knocked down 3 threes and 3 charges, and that stuff, like, there's a lot of stuff. Our senior class is really, really good as far as understanding their roles, not trying to do too much, and really excelling at what they know they can do.
And one of the last things I want you to touch on is, like, tell everybody a little bit about the city of Sulphur Springs and how well y'all travel and how well supported that high school is as far as athletics in that high school.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I don't know if there's a better fan base in the state of Texas. And I'm not just saying that. Like, I mean, we traveled, we went to Forney last year in the second round game, and I think we had 12 to 1,300 people in that gym. Like, our side was, I almost sold out, if not sold out. Going at TJC, we sold out our side at TJC. And there's some of the highlights from like the Mount Pleasant game where they're standing room only. They support us at home. They support us on the road. And that's one of the things that I don't know if you'll find it, you don't hardly ever find it. And then we have, you've seen them. We have Chad's Media, which I think we have more media coverage than 90% of all colleges out there. And Chad does a phenomenal job at what he does.
He makes me so jealous. I don't even want to talk about him.
Well, I know, like you start looking at it, you're like, man, what in the world? Like, how
here,
let
me tell you a story. I bought a couple of his shirts, and I wore one to an Allen game last year.
Oh yeah.
And the lady at the front stopped me, and she was like, You're the guy that made our video for us this year. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna take any responsibility for that, because he is absolutely amazing at what he does.
Yes.
And I mean, all those guys travel with him. I've met Tyler and
Tyler Lennon's awesome. Corey,
the other guy, Corey, yeah.
Well, that's, I mean, and he does that for us. I mean, it's special, man. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, the hype videos that he puts out for us, like, I think he just did, or I guess they'll release it. I think he was over at Allen
this weekend,
and he'll do our hype video. But even like every game, he's got a game recap. It's the videos of all the stuff that goes on.
Yeah, and like the interviews after the game. That's
Well, I think when we first started here, that's who actually was in my locker room. He was in here. They just did a volleyball game, and we're talking basketball stuff. And above what he does and how good he is as a media guy, he's even a better person.
I don't know if he's a real guy, man. I've never seen his face.
Well, I would tell you what, he doesn't want to be seen. He's the guy that he is. He wants to make sure that other guys are seen, and he's going to stand in the background.
Well, Coach, that's all I got for you, man. I told you this was going to run a little long, man.
Oh, man, I appreciate you having me on, man. I love talking basketball, and it really highlighting our players and our program, to be able for people to be able to see what we do and how we do things.
And y'all play at Pinkston this year, right?
We do. Right before we start district, we go to Pinkston.
Yeah, I'll be at that game.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, we're loaded. Our schedule's loaded, so
and
it'll be fun. We start out,
I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do my best to get out there for a game again this year. I feel like I guess I started following Silver Springs when Day and them were juniors, and I feel like I didn't get out there enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna do my best.
Come on. Hey, our concession stand, man, we get like bodacious and stuff to do our concession stand. So you let me know. I'll get you fed pretty good when you come out here.
Yeah, man, that's the only way I'm coming is if you
hey, food brings a lot of people, man. Come on.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. I wish y'all the best of luck. And y'all don't need it.
No, we will. I promise you, we will.
But yeah, man, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you having us on and being able to highlight what we do and and what you do. This stuff for high school teams and high school coaches. We appreciate all that you do for us.